Hey, Adam. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Hey, Marshall. Good afternoon. Real good. Real good. How you doing?
I can't complain. It's been a week though, huh? A lot of happenings. A lot of happenings.
Yeah, it started 2 months ago saying that it was a character building week, but I feel like I've developed enough character. There's two of me, and, and I heard someone cleverly use the term "fatten the curves," which I feel is applicable
Oh,
these
that's
days.
definitely what I've been doing. So family's good?
Family's good, man. We've been doing really well. It's nice and warm down here in Palm Springs, but yeah, we're working through it. Working through it. How you guys doing?
I'd have to say any day that I'm standing is good. I woke up this morning, my wife had a pillow over my face, right? I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm just practicing. I said, practicing for what? She goes, don't worry about it. Just go back to sleep. So, I consider she hasn't bought a tiger yet, so I'm still in good standing, right?
I'd call that a success. It's
Right,
good. You
right.
guys keep the marriage spicy.
Yeah, spicy. I think that's crispy. But hey, listen, keeping with our tradition, as you know, this week, since we've been having these conversations, why don't we open this up to a wider audience and allow some of our partners and clients to be able to listen in on our conversation? If you're okay with that, I'll hit record and we can put this out to the masses.
I would love it. I would love it. I think this is a great platform to be able to share, to be able to take the kind of work talk or lunchroom talk, so to speak, and to be able to share it with our wider audience.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, tell you what, grab a glass and forget about it, and let's get into it.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. So I don't know what you had on your list of things to talk about this week, but for me, I've been seeing all these things as we talk about post-corona activity, how we go back to being in business. And I saw an interesting article where it was talking about airlines. And, airlines are talking about removing the middle row so that we can have social distancing while we're on the plane, which I think is a great idea.
I think everyone's been waiting for years for that.
Right. Funny thing, though, and keeping in true tradition, one airline has decided to actually charge you for social distancing. So Frontier, the budget airline, is going to charge $39 for you to be able to have a no middle seat.
Of course. It feels very on brand for Frontier. Why would I give it away when I could charge for it?
Yeah, so that's crazy. How about you? Did you see anything good this week?
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, it's interesting. I feel like, the airlines did a really good job. 3-4 weeks ago, all the major airlines in the United States have showcased to bring a level of comfort to people, all of their different cleanliness standards, both what existed before and what they're doing now. And so I feel like the trend that's moved now in the last 2 weeks has been to hotels, as hotels and convention and visitors bureaus kind of scramble to figure out, well, all right, if airlines people are comfortable with the cleanliness there, how can we be comfortable with the cleanliness to get people to our destination?
Right.
And so, Wynn led the charge a couple weeks ago with that great in-depth document, 23 pages of their step-by-step protocols of how they're going to keep things clean and sanitized, socially distant, but still run an operation. And then we subsequently saw some really great information from Accor, from Hilton, from some of the other major organizations and some independent brands as well. One of the more interesting things I'm curious about, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, are: have you heard much from hotels? I mean, given your background in working in hospitality, have you heard much about what they're going to do from an events perspective?
I haven't been able to get a lot of detail on that yet. I know many are still coming out with their plan. There was an interesting document released by the CDC, which talked about some social distancing platforms we have put in place. I know one thing, for example, the old breakfast buffet, right? We all used to love to go on the pancakes and the eggs. Well, those are going to go away. The way it looks now is either A, you may have a buffet stand, but you're going to have a person actually serving you. So if you've got a group of 200 or 300 people, no longer are all 200 or 300 going to be able to serve themselves. There'll be an attendant that will be there to serve you. Some other things I've seen are room service has been put on hold for now, no mini bars, and things are prepackaged and pre-made in the downstairs area where people are able to pick them up. I know in New York, the Four Seasons, the general manager there, Rudy, he had talked about how they were a guinea pig for things. Sorry, my dogs love it when somebody comes by the front door. He was talking about how they're guinea pigs for things, and they're using virtual check-ins and check-out machines. So now a hotel that's known for so much human touch and interaction has actually gone, I don't want to say humanless, but they're not necessarily having that anymore, which I think is a really proactive way of looking at this, and it's also very effective.
We'll call it contactless, maybe.
Yes, yes. The thing that I found most amazing, though, in some of these things is in this particular hotel, they're requiring that when you leave your hotel room, that it stay vacant for 24 hours before the next guest checks in, and they bring in a complete cleaning crew in hazmat suits and what have you to ensure that the room is appropriate for the next guest.
That feels very Four Seasons, that extra touch. You know what I
Right?
mean?
I think so.
Yeah, well, and it's great to see them leading the charge. I mean, obviously, New York and California, along with Washington, have been some of the hardest hit in the U.S., and so it's unsurprising for a company like Four Seasons and a property like that to really be leaders in the space. I think one of the things I'm curious, and I've certainly been asked about from my clients, is, what's it going to look like when we meet? So, show me a schematic of what the proposed event space will look like using one person at a 6-foot table, 6 foot in between the tables. What's it going to look like to have people go into the room? Are we going to have 6-foot spacing on the way there? Are we going to have some form of temperature check? There's still, I think, as much as the cleanliness piece has been being addressed and not entirely, I feel, but I feel like that's kind of the next wave that we're going to hear in the coming days and weeks is, here's for our destination, for our particular property, what it looks like to meet here.
Right. Yeah, I'm really curious to see. Since we put this out to a wider audience, I'd be curious to see what some of the comments are once we get this live and hear what people are doing out there and some of the things that are possible. I know many hotels like Vegas are putting in the thermal cameras to be able to see who may be sick and who isn't, as well as some of the other things like the virtual checkouts. So I'm really excited to hear what the responses are going to be.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a great call to action, Marshall. So for those of us or those that are watching this video, we'd love to hear from you about what your comments are, what you're seeing. So please feel free to leave a comment, and we'll certainly take a look and address what needs to be addressed in our next video.
Absolutely. Until next week. Cheers, Adam. We'll talk.
Cheers, Marshall. Good to talk to you, man.